Hey ho, I'm finishing today and wanted just to share how far I came. So maybe I can just start with how far I came and then I can say how I came here. So basically, in the performance challenge, I am matching. Let me just show quickly the sketch. I'm going into the swarm and then I'm looping through all the connections and trying to figure out if any of the connection is a hoster that I'm supposed to check, and if I find one, then I basically start a performance check. So I get the data from the hoster, I measure the latency and so on. So I basically came to the point that I am finding the right hoster. So I've been connecting and looping through all the connections until I found the connection that is one of the hosters. And then the code continues and I have an error, but I will continue on this tomorrow because my goal for today was to actually fix this so that I can finally use the new swarm, Hyperswarm feature, to be able to see the keys of the connections. So how did I do this? So first of all, I don't know if I shared this already, I forgot, but I did, like, on my gists, they're public. I made a peer 2 and peer 1 demo, and I'm using this is commented out basically what I'm using, the Hyperswarm. I was just testing also the Hyperbeam, so if anyone would want to run it, you have to comment this part out and uncomment this one. And how does this demo work? You basically run the peer 1 and you get the public key of peer 1 and the topic, and then you pass this into the peer 2. You pass in the remote key that you're trying to connect to and the topic, and then basically you join the swarm and wait for the connection. And if the connection, so socket or peer remote public key, equals the remote key that you're waiting for, you compare the buffers, and if this is true, you log got the right peer. So this is what's happening in this demo example. And I had to do this now into our actual code. So I also had some little issues because of these updates with Hypercore. So if I go back here, I had to change the options. Before it was announce true and lookup true. So announce means that you are serving, and lookup means that you are basically trying to read the data. So in our example here, hoster is the only one who actually is both, has both set to true. But for example, author of the Hypercore is, let me find where this is. It's just has the server set to true. But this, for example, if you go to the Hyperswarm, you can see that this changed server. This has changed before. In the past or in the previous version, it was announce and lookup. So this is the documentation for version 3, but if you go to the Hyperswarm, you will still find the previous version because this thing is not merged yet. And here you basically say lookup and announce. So I had this problem because I was using the old style. And now finally today they updated the documentation or the README for the version 3, and I noticed that Andrew added this thing. So I updated this. Yeah, and the other thing that I had to do was to update the way we are creating the noise key pair. So before we just use the seed key gen, but we basically have to use this to say exactly like what will be the length of each, because this is what the Hyperswarm, the newest Hyperswarm, is expecting when you pass the keys. And you pass the keys here. So as a hoster, I identify myself by using a key pair that is known. The public key is known, it's on chain. So I'm passing this into the Hyperswarm. And this is basically how a tester that is trying to connect me is basically checking. So you see, we're basically having a hoster ID, we're getting the key from the chain, and then we're checking if this connection key, which is basically, we call it a peer key, if peer key equals the hoster key. And once we have it, we basically get the right hoster. And then we can continue with executing code. So here is where it logs. So yay, mission accomplished. I'm super happy. So thank you, Macintosh and Andrew, for this awesome new thing that will be soon merged. I'm really happy for this feature. And yeah, I continue fixing the rest tomorrow. So I just wanted to share this, and I'm super long. I'm sorry. Bye-bye.